The first poem I'm going to read is, and Mary, I want to thank you before I start this reading that I have been writing a novel in poems about aswang, which are Philippine monsters, and I'm thanking you, Mary, because you've inspired me to write a long poetic fiction. Anyway, the aswang are different kinds of monsters, and one of the heroes of the novel is a manananggal, which is a kind of a swang that I've done a little sketch here. This is a woman that can separate her bottom half away. She can split off and grow wings and fly and do whatever monsters do at night. Well, actually, she preys on pregnant women and babies, which is very odd if you think about it. But anyway. And she has fallen in love with a shapeshifter, and this poem is about in the novel they get into trouble with her villagers in the Philippines, and they get married and well, they move to San Francisco after running away to Manila and getting married. And this is called A Swan Honeymoon at the Golden Gate. It's set on May 26, 1937, which is the day that the Golden Gate Bridge was dedicated after it was newly built. And their names are Clara and Santiago. A Swan Honeymoon at the Golden Gate. Isn't that simply magnificent, Tiago? Clara pointed above the steamship's prow as they sailed under the brand new bridge, its orange towers gleaming in the setting sun. Tiago could only nod, speechless at the beauty of the orange cable shimmering as they swooped in a graceful arc. Thousands of San Franciscans had walked across the Golden Gate that day, a grand feat never before possible. Clara and Tiago hurried, but got to the bridge too late, almost dark. The next morning, at the dedication, people snickered at the loony old man, the bridge watchman, who swore he'd heard leathery wings walk, walk, and saw silhouetted against the moon a bizarre flying thing, holding a gigantic dog. Holding a dog? Nearby listeners laughed, pantomiming drinking from a bottle behind the poor man's back. Crazy drunk, they whispered to each other, smirking. How beautiful it must have been on top of the 800-foot tower, nearest to the glistening lights of San Francisco, tiny diamonds strewn on jet black cloth. The bride's wings beating slow and soft, the groom's canine fur shining sable and sleek, holding hand and paw in the velvet night, 1,000 stars showering glittery light. Looking at the chat here. All right. Thank you, Annie. All right. Let me change my background. I'm going to read another poem that I've lost the text of the poem. One second. All right. So this, I'm trying to handle too many windows here. All right. I'm showing you this poem as it was published in Altered Reality magazine because it's a concrete poem. And so you can see it as I read it. space opera. A blunt lipstick-shaped tube of dull gray points up to gunmetal sky, covered by drab clouds of acid ice, scoring the ground with hard pellets of sulfur hail, like fiery bullets of burning brimstone, dredged from hell's deep abyss. Flash Gordon taking off to Ming the Merciless's planet to rescue Dale Arden from that fate worse than death. Night's shroud is falling. The red-orange blast of his engines glows like morning, a little harbinger of hope in stormy darkness. The small ship soars, a desperate arrow. Thank you for your comments, everyone. All right. I will read some poems now from my book, The Coolest Month, which is here, let me get out of my way here, get out of my own way. And this is a book of poems that have to do with the month of April. April, as you probably know, is National Poetry Month, and during April I write a poem each day, and I use prompts from Robert Lee Brewer and from Maureen Thorson. And generally what I try to do is to merge the prompts. All right, so inside in the book, I won't show you the inside of the book now, but there's a poem for every day in April. And these poems were written sometime in the last 10 years on that particular day. So here is a poem from April 4th, Elegy for Ian Banks. So I'm sure many of you know that Ian Banks is a science fiction writer from Scotland. And he is known for fanciful spaceship names. And that was the prompt that day was to Maureen Thorson suggested crafting a title from one of Scottish science fiction writer Ian Banks' extremely odd poetic names. There are notes in the back of the book, and so include the spaceship name, which in this case is Screw-Loose. All right, here's the poem. For Ian Banks. Ian waits at fourth porch. He died, by the way, in 2013, if you didn't know that, and this is an elegy for him. Ian waits at fourth porch in Rosyth, where his father had once worked. He sits on a dock, dangling his feet into thick air over dark green water, where once submarines lay for repair, their blunt noses airing in dry dock. The clipper spaceship Screw-Loose, from his novel The Player of Games, is on the way to fetch him, to ferry him to Avalon, Inis Afalon, Isle of Apples, where King Arthur reposes, braced to save Albion, England, from peril. Ian squints into gray, storm-clouded sky, uncertain from which direction Screw-Loose would appear, swoop in. A three-masted ship gracefully slips into dock. Ian pays not one whit of attention, still scanning the skies. Ian is surprised when the sailing ship's captain strides up, blue plumed tricorn and tasseled epaulets glistening gold. Mr. Banks, I presume? When will you board, sir? I am master of this vessel to leeward of you. She is Screw-Loose. Jaw slack, Ian doesn't know what to say. He allows himself to be led onto the deck of the clipper ship. Captain McBride gives the order to cast off, weigh anchor. The sun emerges brightly from behind clouds. Standing in the bow, Ian leans into salty spray, the sea scudding and frothing as it breaks on either side of the clipper. Ian feels the cancer somehow fading away, black flakes sloughing off, flurrying away in wind. Ian recalls how he had driven today to the Rosyth docks in a bit of a frenzy. He'd imagined he would be tardy and need to sprint, yelling out for someone to hold Screw-Loose, even as it left, or worse yet, there'd be no spaceship. Hearing a strange metallic noise, like a submarine klaxon dive, Ian turns and looks upward at the sails on the closest mast. Someone in a boat alongside the screw loose would have seen Ian smile as sails harden and shift, drape a translucent metallic canopy over the deck, flare 50s rocket fins. The spaceship screw loose lifts from the water and streaks smoothly up into air, deep space, the heavens. I'm wearing dragons today, as you can see. In fact, I often wear dragons, almost always, well, actually always. So here's a little Sistina called Sistina Dragon, where all the repeated words are dragon. Okay, I like to write light poems, and this is one of those. What could be more optimal for a dragon Sistina than using the word dragon as an end word? All 6 end words could be dragon, in fact. That way there wouldn't be any drag in having to sort out when you'd need dragon again, because every time you put in dragon. Yep, dragon, then dragon, then dragon again. Thinking of Beowulf and Grendel and their dragon, maybe pull in a kenning or two. For example, a dragon kenning might be fireworm. But that's a familiar dragon image already from ancient days. A new kenning for dragon could be reptile flamethrower, though such a dragonage just might be too modern, violate the traditional dragon mystique. You could allude to the constellation Draco by kenning multi-double eye snake, because Mu Draconis is a binary star in that system, along with Nu Draconis and Omicron Draconis and several others. Some Draco stars, in fact, are actually triplets. Because of the Draconids meteor shower every October, Stone Rain Dragon could be another kenning. Is it too draconian, do you think, to insist on repeating dragon? And you, dear reader, are you getting tired of hearing dragon so often? Would it stretch credulity to hear dragon right now? For what it's worth, for me, not yet a drag, and we're still having fun, aren't we? We're not dragging our feet yet. Thinking, oh geez, here comes dragon again. In reference to military history, dragoon could give us a little break from the word dragon. Another variation might be the name Count Dracula, taken on by Vlad the Impaler when he became a dragon, or more precisely, was invested in the Order of the Dragon. The kenning then might be blood gulper son of a dragon, the literal technical meaning of the word Dracula. Not the blood part, but the bit about sons and dragons. Dragon Sistina about done. Should we avoid dragging on by saying dragon, dragon, dragon now? Or does dragon need Sistina with respect? Nah, dragon, dragon, dragon. All right. I'm gonna read
a tiger one?
Head to the Sky, which is after Elizabeth Bishop's poem 12 O'Clock News. And I'll show you that there are paragraphs. It's a prose poem. There are paragraphs, and then on the side of each paragraph is something else. There's a hidden meaning, and in fact, this is an ekphrastic poem based on this this image, the cover of my book, a guitar. And so here we go. Head to the Sky. The sun, a ruddy egg poised on the pale, wavery horizon, rose like a shimmery balloon into a bright robin's egg cumulus clustered sky. Trees whispered their breezy susurrus into the thin violet haze of early morning. Red burst finish. On the spaceport's wide white concrete, the vast ship stood warming, its mirror-like engine housing thrumming and steaming with liquid oxygen. A single chrome fin arced upward like a pointing arm. Whammy bar. On the side of the spaceship, its massive magenta hull plated with cardinal and amber ceramic armor, the shiny bubbles of the bridge and engine room lit up like angular bars of silver soap, chrome lozenges flashing morning sunlight back to the heavens, silver foil pickups. The sleek, thin parallel armatures of the faster-than-light drive stream from the black base of the ship's tail, laddering up to its stiletto nose, high in azure air, pointing like a slim spike, a bright spear, set to needle into the bleak vacuum of interstellar space. Slinky strings. With the blaring clamor of 1,000 thunderstorms, a million Jimi Hendrix feedback howls, his Woodstock star-spangled banner magnified a billionfold, the gigantic space arc silhouette, a handmade titan larger than a city, rose like a majestic frigate into the air, poised like a resplendent phoenix on its column of fire. This first vessel of humankind leaving behind blue earth, this sliver of Homo sapiens flinging itself outward into the obsidian brightness of the universe. All right, and one last poem. This is called All Zombies Coming and Going. It's a one word per line abecedarian. It goes from A to Z, and so it reads one way, and then you read it again, going from bottom to top, Z to A. All bury caskets, dooms exhausted, forever green, horrific, inside jujubes, kissing lips, miniature, never oblique. Plan quiet reveries, secure trees. Under visible wound, exit your zipper. Zipper your exit wound, visible under trees, secure reveries, quiet. Plan oblique, never miniature, lips kissing jujubes, inside horrific green, forever exhausted. Doom's caskets, bury all. Okay, that's it for my reading. We have a little bit of time here for some questions if people would like.
Yes, I was intrigued by the guitar. Do you sing too, or do you make music?
I am a musician. I'm a guitarist and bass player, and I'm sure that affects my poetry in some way. I'm not exactly sure how that all works. I don't think about it too much. You know, it just happens as it happens. Any other questions, anyone?
No questions, but thank you. I enjoyed that a lot. And I was glad that you were able to share your screen so that we could see the accompanying images.
Thanks, Mary. It's my new trick that I thought of, that rather than actually screen sharing, I would just make my background the image that I needed. Well, before we go, I wanted to remind everyone that at 4 o'clock today, the SFPA, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association, are giving a reading there'll be 4 of us reading there this afternoon. And then tomorrow at 9 p.m., Angela, the poet Angela Yuriko Smith will be reading, and she is a member of SFPA. And also at 1 p.m. on Monday, DA Shaolin Spires will be reading, and she's here with us today somewhere. I don't.
She had to go to a panel.
She had to go. Okay. Well, all right. Anyway, go to her reading tomorrow at 1 p.m. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, even though I wanted more Aswang
Aswang
poems.
poems.
We could have had more.
Those
you have one,
Aswang
Kitty?
poems, people, I'm telling you, they're so fabulous. They're so fabulous. Oh, Vince, thank you.
It's
Okay.
good.
Thanks, Akua.
It is good to leave us wanting more, though. So that's good.
Thank you, Mary. I'm finishing that novel this summer. I mean, I finished a first draft, and now I'm Well, you know how it goes. We can
Yes.
over the whole thing. Okay, thanks, everyone. I'm going to take off so this recording can get started. Thanks again.
Goodbye.
Second.